Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda and Barker Kia.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bayou Time Sports. I'm Stan Gravois, and it is my pleasure to be joined by two individuals who are going to help us a little bit with Nicholls State University, because these guys are Nicholls State University. Our friend Chris Singleton, who works in the Mass Comm department over there at Nicholls State University. Good to have you here, Chris, as we're going to take a little preview of the Colonels for this upcoming season. And next to him, Shamar Moses. Shamar is a student there, but he's on the home stretch. He's finished in December. And I could tell when we went, talking just a little bit before we got on air today, Shamar is going to lead a lot of insight into what we might see from the Colonels this year. Thank you guys for giving up the time and coming here and talking a little bit about the school that I'm sure you guys love, right?
Of course. Yeah, we're there every day, so, it's good we're always keeping up with Nicholls sports, especially my friend Shamar here, who's
And listen, a little note of congratulations to Shamar as he pretty much directs KNSU there and does those type things. And the pride of Hornville is what we call Shamar before we came on the air. Listen, the Colonels get it all started in week 0, as they call it, on the 23rd.
Yeah.
And they're going to take on UIW, who I would, I don't think it's a far-fetched notion to say that that's probably your leading candidate to win the Southland Conference.
Yeah.
It is going to be a noon start again on the 23rd over at John L. Guidry. We've bragged that it's going to be a nationally televised game on ESPN2, but don't let that stop you from getting out there. We would love to see you there at that game. You guys' thoughts when y'all first heard that they were going to be playing national television, and I'll start with you, Shamar. They're going to play on national television? Really? And UIW is the first game of the year? What did you think?
Yeah, I would love to know Coach Ryback's thoughts when that schedule came out. First, UIW week 0, national televised game, defending conference champs. That team is well built, so I know whoever put that schedule together definitely had some insight on the matchups that's coming. Some notable things about that game to me is your former running back Jalen Spears, now UIW. Your safety, Tyler Morton, now at UIW. So now you have a former offensive and defensive player now on that team. So I just can't wait to see it. I know Ryback is coming with it, and I know UIW is definitely coming with it. Those two players are going to play with a chip on their shoulder. I actually talked to a few players about how do you feel about playing your former teammates, and they're all for it. They're like, it's all love, but between those lines, we're definitely going at it. So that's definitely going to be a good game. And the week 0 is what caught me kind of off, yeah, but it's going to be a good game, definitely. I can't wait. It's going to be a good challenge for Nicholls, for sure, with new coach and regime coming in. They definitely have a challenge in front of them. So
I agree. Don't you think it's a good opportunity, though, Chris? I mean, I realize it's UIW, and maybe they are the front runner in the conference, but it still affords Nicholls that opportunity to maybe go out there, especially, as Shamar said, under Coach Ryback, and maybe set the tone for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, set the tone for the rest of the year, especially that revenge factor after last year. Nicholls went over there, and it really wasn't a close game. So UIW is definitely the team to beat, in my opinion, and everybody's gunning for them this year. So if Nicholls can get them here, it's going to be home field. It's going to be the heat in the middle of the day. Hopefully a big crowd's there. They're cooking, they're tailgating, getting the emotions ready for what's be a really good season. And if they can get a win week 0 now. They can get a week 0 win, week 1, week 2, week 3, 4. That's all going to come, and I think that's going to set the tone for the rest of the success this year.
I'll ask our producer, Jay, if he could throw that schedule back up there, and we'll look at the first half just a little bit. We talked about UIW. Then it's Troy. Now, Troy, obviously, in the Sun Belt Conference in a mid-major, who's a pretty good program. They've been to bowl games year in and year out. A tough one for the Colonels, but again, if you play well against UIW, another opportunity, right, Shamar, where maybe you go out and you show out against Troy a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think they can definitely show up against Troy, regardless of if they beat UIW. Troy is only a 4-win team. I'm looking at it. Then after that, they have West Georgia, another 4-win team. Then it gets a little scary having Texas State and Eastern Kentucky. That's 2 8-win teams, and you have that stretch of 4 away games. So I think that's going to be tough. 3 or 4 away games in a row. However, I feel like this team, many may not agree or say, but it's definitely going through a rebuilding with this new coaching staff. So they're going to have a test. And like we said, week 0 is going to start it off. But if they come out, if they at least give UIW a fight and not just get rolled over, I think this team definitely can do some things heading into this season. But we just have to see.
You mentioned that 4-game stretch where they were going to be on the road. The second half of the schedule actually leads into that. And there you see Stephen F. Austin, that last away game on that 4 away game stretch. But then they get to come home against McNeese, Houston Christian. They go on the road again against something that's going to be interesting because we just don't know that much about Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Related to, listen, they had a great baseball program.
Yeah, they're in Texas, so I mean, they got a lot of athletes in Texas.
That might be the best line I've ever heard, Chris. They're in Texas, so you got to watch out because the facilities are always good in Texas, and they have the resources. And then it's Northwestern State and Southeastern, 2 rival schools, obviously, with the big rival game being Southeastern on a Thursday night. You guys mentioned we don't have a whole lot of time left in the segment, but you get off to a good start, maybe some good things happen, right?
And one thing I want to mention, Texas State, Troy, those are 2 former Southland Conference schools. So Nicholls is familiar. I mean, I know this generation might not remember that, but Texas State and Nicholls used to be a really big rivalry.
Troy State
when they were in the Southland Conference, and Troy, when we were at Troy State. So Nicholls has been there before. They've competed. Now it's a different level now.
Well, you're right. The Battle of the Paddle with West Texas State back in the day.
Yeah.
Listen, we enjoy talking to you guys about this. We're going to get you on, talk a little bit about offense and defense a little bit, but thanks for talking about that schedule with us.
Oh, no problem. Of course.
Go take a real quick break. We got to get back to some bills to pay. So we're going to go to some commercials, and we'll come back and talk more sports after this.
Stay tuned for more Bayou Time Sports, brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System, Community Sports Institute, Barker Honda, and Barker Kia.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bayou Time Sports. It is my pleasure to be joined by Chris Singleton and Shamar Moses, both of the Nicholls State University Mass Comm Department. Chris teaches there and is doing great stuff with the young students. Go out and if you enjoy perusing through social media, Chris and some of his students have terrific interviews with some of our local high school athletes. And Shamar, again, the pride of Hornville, as I call him, is one of those guys who's on the home stretch. He is going to be finishing up in December, and I think is going to be a talent in this field in the future. Guys, we are here today to talk a little bit about your school, Nicholls State University, and the football program. Offensively, it was not great for the Colonels last year. 7th in the 9 teams in the Southland Conference as far as rankings go. And there are some major changes because when you consider that backfield, it's not going to look like it even did last year too much. Shamar, quarterback situation's changing, but I understand we have a new gun in town. Talk about the kid who we expect to see at quarterback for the Colonels.
So a lot of conversation is about Deuce Hogan coming from New Mexico. I talked to him at the Manning Passing Academy, and from a personality standpoint, I definitely see why a lot of guys and a lot of people like this guy. I actually asked him, how have you embraced the city of Thibodaux? And he told me the city of Thibodaux has embraced him, and he loved the people. And he said his first day was snow day. He was trapped inside, and so many people from the mayor and everyone else in Thibodaux gave so much to him during that time. And he was, he was only that was his first day back. Well, here actually. So, but you have a guy in Deuce Hogan that's coming off an injury, and from what I see watching this tape, he definitely has an arm. He can make all the throws. He said he talked to Tyler Shuck a lot during similar situations with a quarterback battle, but I mean, you have a new offensive scheme coming at Nicholls with Gabe Fertitta coming from Florida State, which is something that definitely needed to happen. That offensive scheme that Nicholls ran in the past, I mean, it was just so predictable. So I think this new OC that's coming in can definitely help him, but I still don't know. It's still shaky and rocky. He lost your starting center. We just have to see.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, you're right. And they play in week 0 in a game against UIW where UIW is, pardon the pun, seasoned, even though it's week 0, but they're a team that's been at the top a little bit.
Yeah.
Everything I understand about the young man, though, Chris, is that he is talented. He's a little bit older because he's been in the portal a couple of times. New Mexico State, Kentucky before that, out of the Texas area where we've established that it's very fertile. But from the standpoint of seeing this offense execute this year and do things better, your thoughts?
Well, I think it's going to start, obviously the skill positions are going to be replaced, obviously, but I think it starts up front. It's one thing that Nicholls has always taken pride in offensively is dominating people up front. They usually have a lot of really good linemen. I know they may have lost some to graduation and transfer portal this year, but I think if Nicholls' line can, give the new quarterback some time, I think, they do have some incoming players that, come from other places. There's a really good a receiver, Landon Ibetta, who played at LSU. They have a really good tight end, Ethan Hunter, who also spent some time at New Mexico. So they hit the transfer portal pretty well, with some skill positions now. But I think if they can secure some spots up front on the offensive line just to get it settled, the first couple of games of the season until all the skill positions catch up, I think that's going to help out the new quarterback. And one thing he did mention, Shamar mentioned, was the new offensive coordinator. I don't know if you remember him, Gabe Fertitta. He was a very successful high school coach at Catholic of Baton Rouge.
That's right.
A while back. I think he won a couple state championships. So he knows Louisiana. He knows what we like down here as far as the football game goes. Yeah.
Listen, this guy coached at Catholic of Baton Rouge for 4 years and was in the state championship in Division I Select 4 years. So obviously there's something. He did go to Louisville for a little while, then to Florida State, where obviously he learned some things there. Yeah, I'm excited about him. One position we didn't talk about a little bit was the wide receiver position. When you consider that Scrappy Osby's coming back, Christian McNeese is coming back, the Dufran kid is coming back, Jackson Dufran, whose family is originally from this area. That might be a bright spot, Smart.
Yeah, Scrappy Osby definitely is a great athlete. He runs route as good as anyone that I know. He definitely is a speedster. But the problem comes in with me, like Chris said, I need the offensive line to stay healthy because you can have all the athletes you want and you need, but if you can't get the ball there, what good does it do you?
It's not 7-on-7.
It's not 7-on-7. You have guys rushing you. And like I said, one of the biggest things for me with this offense is losing your center. Ebru, he was, one of the best that Nicholls definitely that ever had. So if this offensive line stays healthy, this team, the sky's the limit. But until I see it, I can't praise them yet.
I agree.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a wait and see sort of thing. And it starts early. They've been in camp. They've been working hard. I know you guys, when you're around campus, you could see them out there really getting after it along the way. And the one thing we probably didn't even mention in this segment is it's Tommy Rybecki's, new show, right? We've seen Coach Rebo for the last 10 years. So I hope that Coach Rybecki could get off to a good start.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. He's so used to just being on the defensive side. Now he's overseeing the whole show. So it's going to take some time. It took Coach Rebo some time, too. I think Nicholls and, athletic director John Sorrell is going to let him, form his own path before we make any final judgments on whether he's a success or not. So it's going to take some time.
Listen, I appreciate you guys coming in. We have said we're going to do this throughout the year related to Nicholls sports. So always fun to have y'all. Got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to try and talk a little bit about the defense, a bright spot for Nicholls in past years. Got to take a break. We'll be back right after this timeout.
Stay tuned for more Bayou Time Sports, brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System, Community Sports Institute, Barker Honda, and Barker Kia.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bayou Time Sports. I'm Stan Gravois, and I am so pleased to be joined by Chris Singleton and Shamara Moses, both of Nicholls State University, both of the Mass Comm department. Shamara is on the home stretch. She's going to be finishing in December. Chris, we know, is a longtime editor over here with our Houma Courier and Daily Comet, but now obviously working there in the Mass Comm department. Thank you guys for spending a little time with us, because we get to talk about maybe what has been the bright spot of Nicholls for the last couple of years, and that's the defense. Yes. Tommy Rybecki is now the head coach. For those of you who don't know, maybe been hiding under a rock, Tommy Rybecki was the defensive coordinator. Now, one thing I hear from everybody, pretty meticulous about what he does, knows it. You don't throw around the word genius too much, but a lot of people say when you see what he does, he understands, he sees things that could be happening. And now he's got another guy who was a terrific athlete. I loved watching this guy when he was at East St. John, Darian Monroe, who also went on to Tulane and was great. He's now the defensive coordinator. Shamar, is it going to be the same, or is it going to be even more improved? What do you think about the defense?
I guarantee you with they call him Coach Debo over there at Nicholls.
Okay.
That defense is going to be better. You can look in the last 3 years, they've been top 5, top 3 in takeaways. And when you talk about Coach Ryback and the scheme he runs defensively, you definitely can throw out genius. If that's definitely the bright spot on Nicholls' team. That defense, I mean, the exotic fronts, exotic blitzes. If you look at it, they led the SLC in rush defense, ranked 4th in FCS. Fewest rushing touchdowns with 6 fewes, which was the fewest in the FCS, and they led the FCS or the turnover margin of plus 12. So that speaks for itself. Rasheed Lovelace, that dude.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh,
that's
everything.
Where it starts, right?
That's where it starts. Everything runs through that. You're talking about a guy that can stop the run, rush the passer, and create turnovers. He had a pick 6 last year. Who was it against?
Not Rustin?
No, I think it was Louisiana. It was one of them.
Yeah.
That big dude has some will. So, but yeah, under Coach Debo, this defense definitely will be better. I think now because he can oversee the whole defense and not just the cornerbacks. But you see how he had those guys playing, and Coach Ryback, he definitely trusts him. And I think that promotion is going to be huge for Nicholls, and that defense is going to be even better. So I'm excited to see that side of the ball. I know we talked offense and schedule, but if that defense is what we know it can be, they definitely have a chance.
You know, and Chris and I are a little lot older, and I'm a lot older than you, Chris, but I can remember when Miami, in their best teams, started bumping down people. What I mean by that is if you were a safety and you could run, they'd put you at outside linebacker because you could really run. Nicholls sort of has that at the linebacker position. You know, the Del Mondo kid is a little bit undersized maybe for a linebacker, but he can run. You know, Rasheed, last year, they had a couple of kids who were there who they could just run and they would get to the ball. Hayden Shaheen is kind of that guy. Then in the defensive backfield, it's guys who can run. More of the same, you think, this year? Especially with a guy like Monroe, who was a defensive back in college, who obviously knows the game there.
Yeah, a lot of these defenses are using that flex position more than effort. These athletes, they're not just big and husky. They're fast, they're quick, they're aggressive, and they have a couple of ones. And like you mentioned with Lovelace and Delmato, and in the defensive backfield, you know, guys like Ty Mush, you know, is another one. You know, he had 40 tackles, 2 interceptions. And one thing Shamar mentioned was, I think the strength of Coach Ryback's defenses in the past was that they forced turnovers. Last year they were 3rd in the conference with like 19 interceptions.
Very good.
So they can pick other guys, you know. So if they can continue to get a lot of interceptions, and you know, not just interceptions, but you know, force some fumbles and you know, get some more sacks, I think they're going to be very good. But the key is they got to get the ball back into the offensive hands, and especially with a lot of new people on Nicholls' offensive weapon, on Nicholls' offensive side of the ball. They got to set them up a good field position, you know. So I think, you know, that's what they're going to rely on the first couple of weeks and first couple of games.
From a perspective of looking at local kids, too, Alex Villabasso, who is now a senior, who's been around, only goes about 240 to play on the defensive line, but his technique is so good that he ends up in the backfield a lot of the time. From E.D. White Catholic, obviously a local high school, you have Ethan Lee, who will come up and knock the snot out of you, you know, from that safety position. So we do have a couple of local kids to look at, too, but it's a good mix. You know, we talked about Rasheed Lovelace. He is a guy who is from Pensacola. But if I'm not mistaken, and Shamar, you might correct me on this, I think he's up for the Buck Buchanan Award.
Yes.
You know, this upcoming
Definitely
year.
on the watch list, yes, sir.
Yeah, he's on the FCS All-American preseason watch list.
He's a dude.
He's a guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
Senior, by the way. Want to mention that. You know, some of these guys, I mentioned Villabasso and Ethan Lee, both seniors also. So kind of a senior-laden team, right?
Yeah, definitely have some good seniors on that team. And like I said, the scheme that they run, y'all mentioned some guys, you know, being not as big, but being productive, and that's what Ryback's scheme is all about. He loves dudes that can do multiple things. He likes to drive back his D lineman, put him in coverage. So you can't have him 350 pounds. Have to be, you know, able to move and cover some of these receivers. You know, so I definitely think this defense is definitely on the up and ups with this in this incoming season, and I can't wait to see it. I'm definitely excited to see how this defense plays.
Well, I appreciate first what you're doing, Chris, with the kids over there. I enjoy looking at the social media and the way that you have those kids interviewing and giving props to our high school kids in the area, but obviously the way y'all are caring for Nicholls State University and caring for that program too. So I'll hold you to doing this periodically. You could bring Shamar back. You could bring whoever you need to bring back. And we'll make sure we're good to
We got 3 or 4 of them that can come
They
too.
in line,
Couldn't
huh?
come today, but we're gonna definitely hold you to that.
Shamar, we wishing the best for you.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and I think the world's going to be a better place if you could get out there and spread the word of sports to everybody.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Got to take a break, folks. We'll be back right after this.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda and Barker Kia.